if evolution is real, and if there is this constant,
it real?
I don't know, but it's visible. Like you can measure it in certain animals.
You can measure adaptation.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that in fact, I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution as articulated by Darwin is like kind of not true. Right?
In what sense?
Well, in the most basic sense, the idea that, all life emerged from a single cell organism and over time, and there would be a fossil record of that, and there's not. And
there's not a fossil record of transitionary species, like species that are adapting to its environment.
There's
and they
tons
develop...
of record of adaptation, and you see it in your own life. I mean, I have a lot of dogs. I see adaptation in dogs, through the litter to litter. But no, there's no evidence at all zero, that people evolve seamlessly from a single cell amoeba. No, there's not. There's no chain in the fossil record of that at all. And that's why you don't actually hear people, you hear them make reference to evolution because the theory of adaptation is obviously true. But Darwin's theory's totally, that's why it's still a theory almost 200 years later.
Tucker Carlson has it entirely wrong when it comes down to this theory of evolution. The first major problem that I have is that they seem to not understand what exactly is a scientific theory. I have at least 3 different definitions of scientific theory for this video. The first definition comes directly from the National Center for Science Education. In science, a theory is a well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world that can incorporate facts, laws, inference, and tested hypotheses. The second definition comes directly from Britannica. A scientific theory is a family of empirical experimental laws regarding regularities in existing objects and events. The final definition comes directly from the American Museum of Natural History. A theory is a well-substantiated explanation of an aspect of a natural world that can incorporate laws, hypotheses, and facts. In other words, the use of the word theory is not the same thing as a hypothesis in science. So what evidence do we have in favor of human evolution? The first bit of evidence that we have is basically DNA evidence. Humans and chimp DNA is nearly identical when you compare the brands on chromosomes, the bundles of DNA inside nearly every cell. Human and chimp X chromosomes both contain 1,100 different genes, or sets of instructions. Each gene affects a particular trait in the body. Most genes in humans and chimps are nearly identical. Both species have the OPN1LW gene, which allows them to both see the color red. Another aspect that Tucker Carlson complained about was the lack of evidence for transitional fossils. The best way to look at evolution for humans is like a family tree. At the very top of that tree is actually our common ancestor for the great apes. Prior to Homo sapiens being around, there were also other groups like the Neanderthals, as well as Homo erectus and other kind of groups. At some point, both humans and Neanderthals actually lived together, and our closest relative is actually the chimpanzee. I would highly recommend this book from Mr. Carlson because it's actually really helpful to know more details about human evolution from there.